Are you serious? Are you serious? Folks, we're getting information. I thank Vicki Richardson for sending this information to us this morning. But shots fired. I said shots fired on the U.S. Embassy vehicles now in Yemen. Now, yesterday, shots fired on the Prime Minister's vehicle as he was fleeing the presidential building in Yemen. On Saturday, the President's chief of staff was kidnapped by radical Islamic jihadis there in Yemen. The situation's falling apart, folks. And yesterday, as we reported, the U.S. Embassy was being considered may need to be evacuated. Still has not been evacuated, even after shots fired on the embassy vehicles this morning, and the nation out of control. Seriously, the government's not in control there in Yemen. Here's a report right now by CNN, right out of Yemen.
Statement from the U.S. Embassy here. They say that last night, near a checkpoint near the U.S. Embassy, one of their embassy vehicles was shot at. They say they don't know who was behind the shooting, but they say that they began shooting in the air, but then turned the guns on the vehicle itself. And I quote here, "These were not warning shots. There was intent there." Now, these vehicles, you see them in the city themselves, they were pretty recognizable, armored. So in this case, that vehicle, no injuries inside it. There were U.S. citizens, U.S. diplomatic personnel inside that vehicle. They often travel in more than one vehicle in a convoy. We don't know exactly what reaction the U.S. citizens there took, the U.S. diplomats took. I understand they may have simply just driven on into the embassy, but clearly someone shot at them with intent to cause injury, death, potentially, close to the embassy itself. Obviously, we know that the embassy has been on a heightened state of alert. It always has been. It's, part linked to a key drone program here in Yemen, always a target. But in this sensitive time right now in the city, it is remarkable to see that a U.S. diplomatic vehicle would be directly subject to fire like this. We heard yesterday preparations to potentially evacuate staff here. I should stress, speaking to the embassy, they are not planning on pulling people out. They're continuing their normal functions. They say their consular services for U.S. citizens here are still open. But this is, of course, a deeply troubling incident. As I say, they don't know if anyone returned fire against those who attacked this U.S. embassy vehicle, but still troubling all the same that they would turn their guns directly at the vehicle itself.
So, folks, that is the situation right there. And he's the only Western journalist in the nation of Yemen. There's no other Western journalist. So, Nick Walsh of CNN, and I saw him a few minutes ago, live on television, just say that as he's standing there with the city behind him, the capital city behind him, gunshots could be heard all across the city, scattered gunshots throughout the city. Is the Yemen government in control? I don't think so. And it may be time to close that embassy and pull all the diplomats out of there. The last thing you need is another Benghazi. And it's not because of a YouTube video here at Yemen. It never was a YouTube video at Benghazi either. It's called radical jihad. It is literally extremist Islamics that are trying to hijack peace from the world. Is it in the Bible? Well, read about the red horseman of the apocalypse who literally gallops through the land taking peace from the land. And I think this is the time we're living in. Are you saved? We're truly living in the last days. Peace is being taken from the land. And it's just beginning. These are the beginning of sorrows. Don't miss tonight's live broadcast. I'll be preaching tonight here in New York City at Harvest Army Church International. You can watch it live on their website tonight. It starts at 7:30 p.m. and the broadcast will go till 10:30. Don't miss it tonight. I'll be preaching on these prophetic times. At their website is www.harvestarmy.org. Don't miss it tonight. God bless.